Today's video is brought to you by Nationwide Industries, the Fence Pros' #1 choice. And they're this Fence Pros choice for a couple reasons. The most recent reason? Gate kits. They've paired their most popular hinges with their most popular latches in the most common post sizes to make it easier to grab and go. Also, as a consumer, it makes sure you know you've got the right hinge for the right latch. For example, if you've got a pull gate, they've got a pull gate kit just for you. It's got the Cornerstone hinge in it. It's got the Trident 20-inch. Both some of our most popular gate hinge hardwares. You've got a vinyl fence with 5-inch posts. They got you covered. They've got their Cornerstone 2 hinge. They've got the Keystone Traverse latch, which I love a lot. They've also got a handle in there. But if you have a vinyl fence with, say, a 4-inch post, they've got that too. All at Nationwide Industries. Check them out in the link below. All right, guys, today's video is titled How to Dig the Perfect Post Hole. This is a long video. It's about 16.5 minutes. It goes through some different versions of how to dig a post hole. One way I think you guys would like, so we're going to do a reaction on it today. If you'd like to watch the entire video without my commentary, we'll link it in the description below. Now, this is from the SWI Fence. If you guys are in the fence industry at all, you're very familiar with Mark and Dan, but if not, you should go check out their videos.
We already got the pressure washer here, and with the vacuum, I feel like we're 90% the way to a vac system, you know, Hydrovac. So we're gonna see if we can dig a hole out here using nothing but a shop vac and a pressure washer. I can't say no manual labor because emptying this thing is gonna kind of suck, but less manual labor.
So this is basically the DIY backyard version of having a Hydrovac system, high pressure water wand, typically with like a 0-degree nozzle, something pretty focused with a suction that's going to, now this is going to a shop vac. It's typically going to a larger trailer type vehicle. The problem is you don't see them in residential a lot just because they're pretty big units and they're going to be very heavy. I've always thought there's an opportunity in the market to have a small scale residential to where the containment, the trailer, whatever, is good for 1, 2, 3 holes. So if you had an emergency repair, you could use this in a pinch, because a lot of times we find, well, this week we found ourselves installing a fence along a utility line without this one happen to be to where you could get a Hydrovac in. But if not, we would have been stuck. So we would either not have done that fence because the communication line was right alongside it, or we would have had the homeowner sign a waiver releasing us from liability should we damage this. These lines in our area, typically the last one we hit was probably 6 or 7 months ago. They're typically in the $3,000 to $4,000 range. They're not inexpensive to hit, so we can't take the liability if we're being directed to build on that. But then from the homeowner's perspective, if the whole fence is $8,000 or $9,000, do they want to possibly add $3,000 or $4,000 on top of that for a utility? No. There's a real opportunity here for a smaller scale Hydrovac system that can get into a backyard, especially one that could handle a handful of posts. As we're going to see in this video, the mud, the sludge does accumulate. Where they're working, it's on their lot to where the mud's not a big deal. But I can imagine in any sort of nice residential setting, putting this mud anywhere on the property will not be acceptable. So there's an opportunity here. If you develop stuff like that, let me know. Maybe this is available and I just haven't found it yet. I would love to know. Essentially turning all the dirt to sludge, letting the rocks fall down into the bottom of the hole.
So this is the biggest problem with this method already. Now I got to figure out where I'm going to put this mess, but at least I don't have any dirt in my grass. Probably like some dewatering bags would be amazing. We don't have dewatering bags.
Even with dewatering bags, I mean, it's still going to be muddy water coming out of there. Better solution, but you still got to figure out, like I said, in a nice residential setting, I don't think that would be found to be acceptable.
But we have right here.
Now, there's some contractors that would call that hole good, deep enough. Technically, ASTM standards, no matter where you are in the country, is a 30-inch minimum or 6 inches deeper than the frost line of the area. These guys are up in Wyoming to where their frost line is going to be significantly deeper. But even if you were in a Gulf state, 30 inches technically is still the minimum per ASTM standards. If you as a contractor are following those, you still want to get a little bit deeper. But if you were in the Gulf coastal area, the southern United States, the digging's not awful. It's sandy or loamy or any of this, but you're typically not going to find cobblestone rock like what Mark and them find up there in Wyoming.
We're at about 26. That's about all we're going to get with the vacuum. Probably 12 gallons of fluid and dirt. From here, we would be shoveling any of that stuff out because we can't suck it out of our hole. Now, another thing to bear in mind is if you're trying to dig a really deep hole, these vacuums, they only have so much head pressure. So the deeper you get, the less chance that it'll work because these vacuums just don't have the suction power that it would take to lift that fluid and all that silt out of the hole. So
we looked into some Hydrovac solutions that were a towed application, seeing if we could, a lot of times you can get at least up a driveway or get somewhere in the front yard with one of these. But on some of the larger properties we've got, you still run out of acceptable hose length because, as Mark's talking about, you lose the vacuuming capacity, the availability of suction to bring that muck and all into the bin.
All in all, it's a very effective way to dig a hole, barring the two things that we talked about making it a little bit more difficult. But if you need to dig around utilities, gas lines, a sprinkler system, cable lines, fiber optic, any of that stuff, this is a great way to go and probably well worth the mess to make sure that you don't cause damage to your utilities. Much, much safer to do this than using a bar, a shovel, or any kind of post hole digger.
Guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if you know of a small scale Hydrovac solution. I mean, I'm sure a more professional solution to this would be interesting to a lot of people. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors, and I'll see you next time.